Hello everyone, good afternoon. Now, thanks to news sites like Twitter and TMZ and Gawker, celebrities' personal lives are now exposed for all the world to see. And even though we are more exposed these days in the technological era, this is not exactly a new phenomenon. Ever since there have been film stars and celebrities, there have been an obsession with the gossip and the dirt that goes on behind the scenes. Now, when I say the name Charlie Chaplin, I'm sure a lot of you get a mental image, or else you've heard him being mentioned as an inspiration to modern film and television. Now, Charlie Chaplin was cinema's first megastar, and he embodied all of the facets of celebrity. He was part innovator, part leader, part tyrant, part tabloid fodder, and all genius. And in this speech, I will be discussing Charlie Chaplin's professional life as well as his personal life, which was wrought with scandalous marriages and an exile from the United States. Now, Charlie Chaplin's early childhood led him to prepared him for a career in stage and a life of self-reliance. According to biography.com, he was born in London in 1889 to stage parents. Unfortunately, his father was an alcoholic and abandoned the family when Chaplin was only a toddler, leaving his mother Hannah, a vaudeville performer, to take care of her two sons all by herself, Charlie and his half-brother Sidney. Now, when Hannah's voice went out, her depression led her to be committed to an asylum, so the two sons had to fend for themselves in the London workhouses. But as much as Charlie worked, he never got over his love of the stage, and he was able to work small theater parts while working these manual labor jobs. Eventually, when he became an adult, using his mother's contacts, he was able to secure vaudeville performances and get into film and theater companies. History.com states that his runs with the Carno Company, the Keystone Company, which is famous for the Keystone Cops, and the S&A Company led to his preliminary successes and eventually his creation of his character, the Tramp. Now, the Tramp was Charlie Chaplin's iconic part, and he created it in 1915 for a short of the same name. And from there, he became a worldwide success, and he was able to parlay this success and this power into his own film production company. He took over all the responsibilities for this production company, which was exactly the way he wanted them. He was an actor, director, writer, producer, and even wrote the film scores. And he was able to create his own type of movie, which was kind of a tragicomedy with heart and edge that challenged social issues while still remaining true to beauty and humanity and love. Some of these films were The Kid, which was his first feature in 1921, The Gold Rush in 1925, which Jonathan Rosenbaum from Cineast magazine says was the film Chaplin wanted to be remembered for. The Circus in 1927, for which he received an honorary Oscar at the very first Academy Awards. City Lights, considered his best film in 1931, and Modern Times in 1936, his last silent film, which was actually 10 years after the silent era had already been passed by. But Chaplin never listened to critical opinion and never conformed to what anybody else told him to say, which is probably why he gained the reputation of being somewhat of a tyrant. He was a perfectionist, and he would film these 90-minute comedies over the span of years. And even after several months of principal photography, if he did not like an actor's performance, he would strike the whole thing and start all over again. And Chaplin's professional life bled into his personal life, especially with his marriages, and his personal life was just as exposed as his professional one. Of his 4 marriages, 2 of his wives were under the age of 18. According to information gathered from the Artifice website, his first wife was Mildred Harris, and they married when she became pregnant. But after she miscarried, this caused a bitter resentment between the two of them, and they had a divorce. Ironically, Chaplin had to flee Los Angeles to finish editing his movie The Kid in New York so that the movie would not become part of the divorce settlement. His next wife was Lita Gray. They met on the set of The Kid when she was 12 years old. And then she became pregnant when she was 16, forcing the couple to flee the country for a quick marriage so he would not face criminal charges here. That too ended in a bitter divorce. His next wife was Paulette Goddard, who was closer to his own age and also an actress who starred with him in Modern Times and The Great Dictator. They had more of a common law marriage, and they were very friendly even after their divorce up into his death. His 4th and final marriage was to Una O'Neill, the daughter of the playwright Eugene O'Neill, and she was 18 years old when she pursued the 56-year-old Chaplin, and this led to a 34-year marriage with several children, including daughter Geraldine, who became a famous actress, and granddaughter Una Chaplin, who was featured on Game of Thrones for a few seasons. Una, Charlie's wife, ended up being his support system and remained by his side through the rest of his life and the rest of his heartaches, including the communist witch hunts of the 1950s. After a world tour, Charlie Chaplin arrived back on the docks to find out that he had been exiled from the United States for his left-wing politics. According to the Salem Press Encyclopedia, Chaplin was never a U.S. citizen. In 1940, he created a movie called The Great Dictator, which was a spoof on Adolf Hitler, and the country had not chosen sides yet in the conflict. So many people accused Charlie Chaplin of being a warmonger, trying to raise people against Hitler, when in reality Charlie was a lifelong pacifist. His career never recovered from this. His movies after never reached the success of his previous years, and he lived out the remainder of his life in Switzerland with his family. But after nearly 20 years, Charlie Chaplin was invited back to the United States. Funk and Wagnall's encyclopedia shows he received an honorary Oscar in 1972 and a knighthood in 1975 from Queen Elizabeth II. He died 2 years later, his legacy completely restored. So in conclusion, like all celebrities with questionable personal lives, Charlie's work has lived beyond the obsession with celebrity gossip. We are more exposed these days, but most of our beloved artists have always been haunted by scandal and heartbreak and have found retribution. Time always tells the difference between what is popular and what is genius, and however we view Chaplin as a human being, his immortality as an unparalleled artist is beyond dispute. Thank you.